everyone.
All the people.
Oh yeah, hello everyone.
There is a quiz.
Look at you.
Welcome to the Sid City Social Club for Friday, April 9th. We're glad you're here. Today we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary. The very first Sid City Social Club meeting was on April 10th of 2020, and here we are a year later. So we're going to check in with some folks who were at that first meeting, but first, over to Sid.
Well, that's just astonishing, isn't it? I mean, wow, a year. We probably thought we might be around for a few weeks, so it's been pretty fantastic. Well, congratulations, everyone. Well done, all of you. We've managed to get through a year so far of this damn pandemic. Well done. It's quite astonishing, and all sorts of things have happened. Well, I can't wait to talk to you all about some of it. So let's get cracking.
Let's find our first victim. It's going to be Mimi and Marlo, who were there with us the very first day.
They were. Mimi and
Hello.
Marlo. Hello.
Hi. Mimi, Stovda.
Yes.
Cool. Very cool.
Oh, there you are.
We haven't been in the same place since summer of last year?
Since the last meeting we were here together, yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I remember. You were the first super brave people to do something crazy and just sing a song for us all. Yeah, we'll never forget it. It was wonderful, and
It was
still
really
remember it to this
great.
day. It was fantastic. How are you both, apart from missing each other?
I just am very busy with doing both school and uni, which I started last year. I think when we last talked, I was about starting uni.
Yeah.
So I'm doing both at the same time. And I had a minor operation last year, and since then I haven't been able to join. I was in the hospital for a bit. It's nothing bad. It's nothing bad.
Good.
And
Right.
since then I had to sort of get back on track with school. And yeah, as said, I wasn't able to come back, but I'm really glad to be here now. And
Welcome back.
Yeah, I've done my first residencies at the hospital, and I actually thought of the people here because a lot of them, I was in the big chat group on Discord, and a lot of them were like, oh, you're going to do well in the residency, and I did so far, and all of them. Yeah, and despite the stress, I'm on A- in both school and uni, so that's good.
Fantastic.
Good update.
That's really great update. That's wonderful. And Marlo, what about you?
I'm currently preparing for my final year performance. So I'm going to finish my bachelor's in a few months. And I'm making like a weird little queer horror movie. So like Mimi's healing people, and I'm making weird pagan demon effigies out of papier-mâché.
You're scaring the living daylights out of people.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's gonna happen. So I'm at my godfather's right now. Last night we did some guerrilla filmmaking in this abandoned barn. It had a whole like do not enter bit of signposting going on. I'm so happy that we did that. Today we wrapped up a cupboard to make it look like a human-sized present. So out of context, this all will make sense, hopefully, when the actual movie comes out or is made. And yeah, I'm going to use it to get funding to turn it into like a proper sort of full-lengthy kind of thing.
Fantastic. Mark, did you get any help with it?
So the school is going to be offering post-production assistance, so editing, sound editing, all of that, which is great because that's stuff that I am not very good at. We've got a budget of £100, which is still better than no budget, I guess.
It's better than no budget. It's true.
But yeah, the whole point is that I originally had, a series of plots, because it was actually like 8 short stories that sort of belonged into a whole, and I had all these plots and I had like ideas about actors and stuff. And so now I've scrapped most of that because obviously I can't we weren't allowed to be in a space with people. But yeah, so I've been using some of my own, like just some of my own money as well to make it, and then hopefully I can use that in a funding proposal. And I do actually have people that want to make this movie with me. They've already said yes. It's just been
That's
like
fantastic.
let's all get into a space together at some point in the next 15 years.
And
also, it's my birthday soon.
Oh, it is. When's your birthday?
On Sunday.
Oh my goodness, fantastic! And happy birthday. We're not going to be
in a
here
whole
to say
year
happy
of
birthday.
it was funny because obviously the first meeting was the day before my birthday, and I was remembering that this was the year anniversary. I was like, oh yeah, it's my birthday again. It's my birthday again. and it's weird because last year I was in Germany with Mimi in this large house. We weren't actually allowed to go anywhere, and Mimi got me presents from like a gas station or something.
It's just so romantic. I mean, I think it just genuinely is romantic. You may not think so. I think it's hugely romantic.
No, I agree. I agree.
The whole thing was just a wonderful story. How are you communicating? How have you been? Do you get to talk to each other very often?
We do movie watching dates with friends. There are these apps you can use when Netflix starts for everyone at the same time, and there's a chat
which is great.
Oh, wow. And we talk on WhatsApp. We send silly pictures to each other. We started gaming together. I got Marlo into gaming with me.
Oh, great! What
I need to get back into them.
We're playing Borderlands currently.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Because depending on which class you're playing, it's just jumping in and hitting stuff, and that's Marlo's forte so far. It's going great.
I'm playing the large muscular guy who beats people up because that's who I am on the inside.
Like a tank, an actual
Playing your
tank.
gender.
I'm playing my gender, specifically a large idiot.
You're stereotyping the gender.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're doing well. I mean, also, at work when we're having break and stuff, I just constantly talk about Marlo in front of everyone, whether they want to listen or not. So they just have to live with it.
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mimi is the brain, Marlo is the muscles. I'm going to take that because I have never been the muscles in my life.
Nor me either, Marlo. We got that in common.
In my soul of souls, I am somebody who's much larger than I actually am. I have two younger brothers, and they're twins, and they look exactly like me, but just a lot broader. So we stand next to each other. We look like Russian dolls. So I'm like very small and skinny, and then my one younger brother is slightly taller and slightly broader, and then my last brother, who's really into working out, is just massive. But yeah, we're all versions of the same person.
Did Mimi help you with the movie at all? Do you talk about each other's work?
Yeah, constantly.
We do talk about each other's work.
I talk about my work in limits because it's very much body stuff. I'm learning body stuff right now. I have learning cards here, and that's not Marlo's style. And obviously,
and body stuff. By body stuff, you mean
anatomy,
Oh, yeah.
illnesses. We have like 12 classes that's just doctor illness stuff. Even stuff that we don't even work with. We just have to learn that because the state decided so. But in general, we talk about our daily work. Yeah, I couldn't help with the movie that much because always they can't come over. It would be great if I could, but I cannot. Everything they write, they send to me, and I read it, and then I start screaming because it's good.
Because I scream concepts at Mimi, and Mimi tells me that it makes sense.
Mimi, could you just tell me, do you have a happy face drawn on your knee? I keep seeing the edge of your knee coming into shot, and
no,
I was like, is there a picture? Oh, you see, I thought that was your knee in a ripped jean, and that was your kneecap, and you'd drawn a dinosaur face onto your knee.
It's my plushie that I take everywhere except work.
It looked just like your knee. It was a face. I don't think you can. Yeah, like that, except just the top of it and two eyes. So I thought you'd drawn up your knee and drawn a happy face on it.
That's a good idea, actually.
It actually is. It's a bit of Zoom artwork.
You know what? It sounds silly, but I like the idea a lot. I find it very cool. I'm looking for tattoo ideas constantly. I'm currently playing the first game with just the Bellsprout. Like, I don't use any other Pokemon. I just use Bellsprout because I love it so much. And it looks.
And
you don't let it
on
evolve.
a little Nintendo machine, a teeny one.
I have all of them. Yeah, I have the very first Game Boy. I have the second one, the third one, Game Boy Advance. I have all of them. I love Pokemon a lot. It's like, it's my autistic special interest, one might say.
Did you play the Pokemon that they played live? I mean, you know, the massively.
Yeah, it's not for me because you interact with strangers, and that's not for me. I never game with other people except my friends. So.
I for the exactly same reason I didn't play it, because I didn't want to walk around outside bumping into people or looking for Pikachu at the same time, or Bulbasaur or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's my issue. I mean, I also don't go on servers when no matter what I play, even if it's technically multiplayer games, I just don't do it. I'm too scared. I don't like strangers. But I play everything with my friends. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of reticent about it as well. And this, I'm not sure, Marla, are you sociable?
No. No. I stumble over people for somehow, and we end up knowing each other and being friends. Mimi and I,
lovely.
I mean, I think we've told that story as well. Mimi and I also only met by accident. I don't think I've ever met anyone because I was looking to meet people.
You're trawling bars.
Smooth.
It's going to be the most difficult part of your job, because you will always have to sell your job before anyone gives you the money to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just so awkward. It's just
yeah, I don't know. I'm just imagining me going into a glamorous party and being like, yes, I would like to make a movie that's about the reclamation of queer violence through the medium of trash horror. Is like, I don't know, like it doesn't. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me because I love I love trash horror, and I love queer themes in horror movies, because I think horror is the most transformative of genres when it comes to queer identity and bodies. But I'm like, how do you tell somebody about that in a way that makes them want to fund it?
Yeah. Well, you know, there was the Rocky Horror Show, and that did pretty much, that kind of started the ball rolling, at least as far as I know. I was probably 7 or 8. Something like that. And what I really loved was the Mummy song and the Mummy being unraveled, which happened on stage. It was one of the coolest bits for me as a kid. But I didn't understand any of the inferences. I didn't know what was going.
They're all just wearing sparkly costumes.
They were just wearing sparkly costumes and all the men were in heels, except for the old narrator and Brad, is it? Yeah, that was pretty astounding.
Yeah.
Completely over the top of my head at the time, but I did see the movie when I was about 16 or 17, a lot later. I might have been older than that, actually. I might have been in my 20s, and that was brilliant too. I thought it was really entertaining, but it wasn't quite as hardcore as the stage version, which was very in your face. You really knew what was going on. Did you like that movie, or do you think it was kind of rubbish?
So the thing is, right, I think it's a very important movie that has some really great moments in it, and you know, I think that there's an element to it that is very much about, when you look back at queer history, then a lot of language that was being used was different, and a lot of the way that people interacted with their identities was very different, and a lot of what you were allowed to do, which I'm astounded that this movie got made, honestly, was very different.
But I think me watching it at the age I watched it, I'm not sure about this though, because my mom was pretty important to helping me be who I ended up being. But I thought that really helped normalize something that then wasn't normal at all. And for someone that young to be I watched it something like 6 times. Yeah. Because my mum was the public relations officer for the play, so she just brought me to it, and she just sat me in the audience, and I would hang out with all the cast afterwards and all that stuff, and they were like, loved it, because nothing better than a young little boy coming in, or anyone coming in, that just changes the mood of a room. However tired anybody is, people are suddenly, oh hi, what's going on? normalized that whole world for me. So seeing
Yeah.
anybody, you know, that was Eddie Izzard was not unusual by the time Eddie Izzard came along.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about sorry, not to go on about horror forever, but I did say that I could. But like the thing about horror as both being weirdly like transformative and regressive at the same time is obviously that like the other is often the villain. So
Yeah.
the images that I'm looking for, you know, if we're being really obvious, things like body transformation, which is stuff like The Fly, in which that transformation is considered horrifying, or people playing God and stuff like Frankenstein, or just straight up having like a serial killer who is a man that dresses like a woman, because there's nothing more horrifying than that. And so it's a weird thing where it's like, oh, the images that I really want to see are in this, but for some reason they're the villains, whereas in my like worldview, non-conformity is liberating, you know. And obviously the violence doesn't come from people who are non-conforming. The violence comes from forced conformity. And so hopefully that's what I'm gonna be speaking to, or at least making something around.
That's really food for thought. I'd never thought of it as they're always the bad guy, but I think you're probably right. That form of other is always the bad person. I'm getting a good idea now, Mimi, of why you guys might stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning, because you talk with such passion, both of you. Boom,
oh yeah, it's actually because I live sometimes halfway. I live with my boyfriend, and he obviously knows us. Like the three of us lived here together over the summer last year. And no one can follow me and Marlo. Like, this is tame because we're like both neurodiverse and our brains are so fast. And I don't have anyone in my life who's as fast as me besides Marlo. So when we talk, it's sometimes ding, 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 and it's like 5 subjects at once. And we just skip. And then we have obviously inside jokes and inside movies. And then we do a reference, and the reference finishes the subject. And then we go on to the next. So
and we speak a mix of German and English.
Oh yeah, that also.
It's like watching a kind of manifestation of the Large Hadron Collider. You guys just pinging off each other.
I think Mimi and I have a shorthand of language by now that might be that might be, I don't know, just without even any sort of concept around our brains or whatever. I think we just have so many inside references at this point that it kind of goes a bit squiggly. What
do you think has changed? Because we talked on one of the very first days, as far as I know, the very first day that we all had a chat here. I mean, obviously it's ridiculous to say, could you have predicted where we'd be in a year? Because no. But do you feel that any time stood still, or because you've obviously got on with life in very diverse ways? Mimi's gone off to start her residency, achieved all that stuff, and you've made a movie. But do you think time has stood still? Because there's an element of my life that feels like time has kind of stood still. I've made lots of great friends, and in this club, but I haven't got through any of the amount of stuff I would normally have gotten through by this time.
I feel like on a social level, it mostly has. Like, we started our little watch club with my friends only about a month ago, when we realized that we're all missing something. So I can recommend these apps. They're absolutely glorious to watch movies together, or just use Discord in the background and talk, something like this, because we didn't know how much we were missing it. Despite me going to school, I also feel like I haven't done as much as I should have, because obviously university was online, so that was all a load of garbage organization wise. And I wanted to have much more done. And I'm not saying that as a procrastinator, but because obviously school also continuously went into lockdown mode. But besides the social aspect, I don't really feel like it, because throughout the last year, I really went on to find out more about my autism stuff. Right. So that made me change socially, because I realized that how do I say this quickly? That a lot of my negativity and negativity issues came from forced masking in society. So I put that away slowly. I'm still doing that, which makes me feel a lot better. But throughout that, I had constant social shifts and shifts at work that wouldn't have been there otherwise. So I came out at work, for example, which was a huge thing. I came out as autistic, I mean. And so there was, for lack of a better word, yeah, one keeps coming out.
How did people react to you coming out at school?
With the very normal, but you don't look autistic, mostly, except one teacher. Very lovely.
Who looks autistic?
I know. It's because people think when it comes to autism, it's always people who can't dress themselves and are very high functioning geniuses in one particular field. And I can tell you a lot about Star Trek and Pokemon, but I don't have anything useful.
It's people who watched Rain Man one time.
Yeah, and they always like. I have a lot of people who are like, oh, like Sheldon in the Big Bang Theory. No. Except for that, I do have a spot wherever I sit.
The whole nomenclature, if that's the right word, is creeping into the mainstream now, and people are discussing how what words should be in terms of disability, the evolution of the word, where that goes to, what all the connotations are. And I believe we're asking the right people to tell us how they would like to be described.
Exactly, just ask the person.
I hope they change for the better.
I think
really
so.
Do.
I think the next generations are very aware of many things, and I'm very hopeful for the future, despite being a huge pessimist usually.
I'm hopeful for the future because of you guys, because your generation and even the generation above you are terrific.
You're an artist, and you know you are constantly learning new words in the same way that we're constantly learning new words from or we're learning new concepts or different ways of thinking from talking with you, from talking with people on this chat, and it's different depending on how old you are and where you come from, etc., etc.
I'm going to say thank you and thanks for for the whole year, guys. Thank you so much for all the contribution you've made, all the beautiful things you've given us, the gifts you've given us, the songs and your talent and your fun. So thank you very much, because you certainly express yourselves in a really beautiful way, both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for this club. You know, obviously we haven't had the time to be here in a little while. It's just nice to check in and to just say hi, see people and read the chat. I mean, we're going to stick around after this as well. So yeah, it's been a very strange year, but a very weirdly, like, it's had some actual really high points, and this club has been one of those.
Great.
Yeah.
The SCSC, I think, is going to be like we're the laid back, cool parent where we just like you to check in. We don't really need to keep tabs on you. Just make sure you're okay, and you can just be okay. Thank you, both of you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you both for checking in. We appreciate it.
Hi, Mel.
Hi. All right, we're going to go talk to Andrea.
Hello. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. Oh, thanks.
It
Good to see
has
you too.
been a while.
Yeah. Well, a lot has changed in a year, so I've moved country, so I'm back in the Netherlands, and my partner Mark is still in Spain. So.
And that's because you have no choice.
We haven't seen each other in person since the end of September, so it's been quite a while.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How is that affecting
it's okay.
you? How are you handling that?
Not too bad. I mean, obviously we miss each other very much, and it's quite hard sometimes. But we use, we talk to each other on WhatsApp, we Skype, we phone each other. So I mean, that makes it a lot easier. So we're in touch every day.
Good.
But obviously, with all the traveling restrictions, it's been really hard to try to get back to Spain for me, or him to get to Holland. And there's also Brexit, so he's really scared to travel now because people have been sent back to the UK from Spain because they didn't have the right paperwork.
Because is he Brit? Is he British?
He is British, yeah. So he doesn't really want to travel if he doesn't have to. So. Well, I'm going to try and get back to Spain in 2 weeks because I'll be on holiday then. Yeah. But then obviously there'll be a lot of testing involved. And
do you have to quarantine?
That too when I come back, yeah. So I have to get tested before I go to Spain, and then when I come back to Holland, before I go back to Holland, I have to get tested. I've got to get a PCR test first, and then before I get on the plane, I have to get another test. And then when I come back to Holland, 5 days quarantine, and then another test. So it's a bit crazy to see my partner, but you know that's the hoops I'm going to have to jump through if I want to do it.
And it's worth it. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah, it is worth it.
Absolutely. So your life's completely different since it was at the beginning of all this.
Yeah, very much.
In fact, less certainty than before.
Well, yes and no. Yeah, because my previous job, I wasn't happy at all. Because I'm a primary school teacher. Yeah. And I worked at a private school in Spain, and it was a British school, but Spanish owned. And eventually I thought, why am I doing this? You know, I can get another job, a better job in my own country. I can get a better salary. The only thing is that, you know, obviously would have to move to Holland.
And your partner is in Spain. So that was your main motivation for hanging out.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So, and he's a rock climbing instructor. So, you know, Holland, no mountains. So, you know, that makes it really hard for him. Yeah. Really. So it was a kind of a dilemma. And that's also why I waited for so long, because I worked at that place for 10 years.
Right.
And I waited really long because it was really a dilemma. Like, do I want to be with my partner or do I want to have a good job? You know?
Yeah. Looks like you made the right choice, and you're back in the Netherlands, and you've got a job that you like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very much so. Yeah. I'm working full time. I'm teaching basically the equivalent of year 4, so they're like 8 and 9 years old. Oh, okay. It's a really lovely school, very supportive team, and they've already offered me a job for next year, so I'm okay.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a really lovely age. That's a fascinating age because
it is.
There's so much potential, and they have such amazing understanding of difficult concepts. Yeah. It's almost the first time a child begins to understand difficult concepts, and you can start talking about meaning, which is what. That's quite fun. And what do you teach very generally, or do you teach with specific discipline?
No, just everything really. Basically, Dutch, maths, English as well. Our school starts English from the beginning, so they get English a few hours a week, and then basically history, geography, you know, everything.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and how are they coping? I mean, obviously you're at school and you're in person, because that's a raging debate in lots of parts of the world, in America particularly. You know, a lot of places the teachers still can't be with the students, or they don't want to be. Everyone's on one side or the other, as per. But how have they been affected by this lockdown? Because you probably came in at an interesting time, because they'd already had most of the year been whatever, remote learning, and then coming into school a few months ago.
I think it affects them a lot, and I think it affects them more than we realize, the children. First of all, in Holland, the schools went into lockdown, I think sometime in April, May last year. And then they went back to school. And so when I started in October, and from the beginning of the school year, so they started like the end of August, they'd just been going to school. So everybody, you know, in person. And then by the time we got to Christmas, the Christmas holidays, they decided the schools had to be closed because the British version of the virus, the British variety, was emerging then, and people were, you know, like panicking, like, oh, what do we do? And, you know, children can be infected a lot.
Children are, one of the things,
So they closed the schools again. So after the Christmas holidays, I was teaching online for about 5 to 6 weeks. And then they decided that the damage it was doing to the children's education was too severe. Yeah, and also parents were, you know, really struggling, and kids were struggling as well. And because mental health problems among young people, children and teenagers, have soared dramatically. It's just, you know, in Holland, it's like 80% of teenagers are struggling with mental health issues because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic. So they decided that primary schools could go back, and the secondary schools, like I think they go back one day a week or something. So they kind of try to make it work that way.
Yeah, because kids that age, they
Yeah.
bathe in being social. You
They
know,
do,
they try out all their crazy experiments on each other.
Yeah.
And they,
yeah.
you know, pretend
Yeah.
to be the leader of the free world.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You sit down there. You understand,
Yeah.
unless they have lots of siblings, which is
Mhm.
probably nice during COVID to have lots of
Yeah,
siblings.
yeah.
But I was an only child until I was, you know, a teenager.
Yeah.
And I was very introverted at home.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's only so much my mother and I could talk about. I mean, we didn't share the same interests. But when I was at school, I could really exercise muscles I never got a chance to, you know, exercise, emotional muscles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, brother. How are you? How is your family? How is everybody? Because that must be, you must go, that's the upside coming back to the Netherlands.
Yes.
You get to see.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You know, my family's good. I mean, I'm living with my parents again for temporarily because the housing, it's really difficult to find a house here in Holland. The housing market is just crazy. And when I find a house, then I can move everything, the 2 cats, Mark, and my stuff over to Holland. But until then, I live here. But my family's good, and it's nice because I get to see my niece and my nephew a lot. My niece is 2.5, and my nephew is 5, and I really miss them. When I wasn't able to go to Holland when I wanted last year, I really struggled because I couldn't see my family. You know, and like my niece didn't even know me when I came back to Holland.
Wow.
Because, yeah.
Where did you learn English?
Well, at school to begin with.
Because you have exceptional English.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I've been to Ireland quite a lot, so actually to learn Irish, and then I also practiced my English while I was there.
That's right. I now remember we talked about you learning Irish. That was a thing. Okay, yes.
Yeah. When I lived in Spain, English was basically my first language at work and at home. And well, he's from the north of England, so my mother-in-law has been teaching me kind of, you know, slang from the north, and you know, buy egg and
hey, buy gum, you know. Okay.
Yeah. So, and she loves it when I use it. She thinks it's great, you know. She's kind of like, oh yeah, I assimilated you into Northern English culture, or you know, it's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
where faggots are something you eat.
yeah. It's good. Yeah, it's good fun, but it's also kind of difficult because I feel my life is kind of, you know, split between, you know, being with my partner with the English side and then having my family here in the Netherlands. And it's like, it's almost like I can never be complete. You know, if I'm in Spain, I miss my family. If I'm here, I miss everybody there. So
how's that going to pan out? Do you have a little plan hatching? Do you, are you working on it somehow? Does this? Yeah,
definitely.
You're making something it's working in the right direction. Things are working.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got to be patient because Mark wants to continue to do his job because climbing is his life, and I can't take him away from that. I don't have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because his parents got a climbing school and they've had it for quite a long time. I mean, his parents are in their 80s, so they're not the youngest, but his dad still climbs. He's a guide. He's a mountain guide, and he still climbs. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, it'll work out. Where there's a will, there's a way. You know?
Yeah.
I'm so happy to catch up with you again.
Yeah, it's great.
It's been a while. It's very dark in your room, but I quite like it.
I know,
It's kind of moody. There's a nice moodiness to it.
Yeah.
Yes, let us know what if Mark ever makes it over. But hopefully sooner rather than later. It strikes me that there'd be a really good reason to start a climbing school. It just costs a lot of money to start anything in Netherlands because there are no mountains. Precisely.
Yeah.
Well, it's great catching up with you, Andrea. Really lovely.
Yeah.
Take good care. Come back and
definitely.
See us, talk to us about more stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. It's good to see
you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to talk to Emily next. Emily was with us on that very first day.
Oh.
Hi.
Hello, Emily.
How are you?
I'm very good indeed, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I brought my really good friend and boss Samantha with me today because she's letting me do this in the middle of a work day. So.
Oh my God, thank you, Samantha. That's really kind of you.
She's a big Star Trek fan too, so we're nerds.
That's huge. Are you at work now?
Yes.
It's really lovely where you are. I love that sofa.
It is a really
like
cool
a red
office,
leather
yeah.
sofa. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
What do you do? What's your thing? What do you got? What's your business, Samantha?
Hard to explain, but essentially we do quality control for federally funded construction jobs. So.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
quite important. Absolutely.
I think we're important. Yes.
Yeah, I think they're important too, because those jobs could easily lack quality because they've got no other real way of telling what's going on.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So yes, we go out and say, you can't do that.
Exactly. You don't have annoying clients coming in going, I don't want my kitchen like that. I don't want my kitchen like that. You've got just something else happening. So brilliant. Good.
Yes.
So I'm so glad to see you, Emily.
Yes, and last year, this very time, I had left my job and did not have a job. So it's come full circle, and I've been here almost a year now. Yeah. I started like right after, which is why I never get to be on here with you guys right now because I'm usually here.
Yeah, that's fair. That's really fair. But it was good to see you. And how did you find this job?
So the owner, Dave, was one of my customers when I was at Ducati because he's a big motorcycle guy. So it just kind of like worked out that he knew I wasn't there, but wanted someone here. And Samantha liked me enough to be like, no, okay.
I remember you working at Ducati. Yes. And I remember how not over the moon you were.
No. And now I get to work with like a group of like really cool, diverse, badass women, and we get to be nerdy about Star Trek all day, and everyone makes fun of us. We do. Yeah, that's all true.
I love the fact that you have the ovaries to get out of a job you don't enjoy.
I was really scared about it for a while, but I actually only didn't work for about 3 weeks before this. So I feel really fortunate because in the end, like it's weird to say, but like COVID kind of helped me in some ways because it helped push me out of one thing that wasn't good and helped me get into something that I think
absolutely. And how do you have fun? I mean, talking about Star Trek is cool. But what keeps you going? Right, can't wait to get into work, because obviously the work part is always fine, but it's not fun by itself. You've got it's you that makes it fun. So what is it how do you do that?
We do a lot of, we have like fancy dinners, or we did a murder mystery like costume party for our event. Great. And since it's a small group, we could kind of be together safely in a small group, but we all had like 1920s clothes on, and I built a headdress that was crazy. It was fun. We do that. And we have, food is a good motivator. So we do food a lot. So I do food when we're really busy. You can't run for lunch and get food for everyone. And we try to make everyone has their own office space. So everyone's office space is fun and unique and different. So it's someplace you want to spend 9 hours of your day. So all of the offices have artwork and colors and lights to help keep you.
That's great. That's really cool. Yeah. And do you find that it's a flexible? Has COVID made it more of what has it changed the philosophy of anything at work, or are you trying to find a way to get it back to what it was pre-COVID in the sense of structure, etc.?
I'm trying to get back to pre-COVID. We do a lot of video conferencing. Yeah, we're on Teams all day, which kind of can be nice because like you can just shoot a message to somebody else or like talk like this, and you're separate of people, but it's still there. You're not like completely alone in a closed-in box, because that's hard. And my partner actually got COVID last year in June, and so I had just started here and I had to work from home for 2 weeks, and I barely knew what I was doing yet, and it was not fun.
Oh wow. Well, I think lots of people are really jealous of you guys being able to hang out, to be in a relatively social.
We're comfortable, but I get my second dose of my vaccine today, which I'm very scared about, but yeah.
I'm sure there's no reason to be scared. Except you're going to feel a bit poorly tonight. I was fine. I just hung out in the local CVS here, where I got the J&J and just bought stuff. It's a really good way to get people to buy stuff. They even give you a coupon when you come in saying 20% off today if you buy stuff.
Like
So I just walked around buying stuff. Samantha, what have you noticed about change over the year? Have you noticed any change that COVID has brought us? Has it given us anything?
I mean, I feel like it's given us more awareness of your surroundings. I suppose that people, especially in public places, are more aware of where they are physically in relation to the other people around them.
Yeah.
So for a female that has, like, guys are always, just too close, Yeah. Like, even at the grocery store, they're coming to help me. I'm like, you're too close. Just give me a couple feet. So
yeah,
people are much more conscious of that, which has been a great plus. But overall, it's kind of depressing because if you're very social or you like to go to movies or concerts or art installations or things, it's hard to do any of that right now with the restrictions in place, or to feel safe even if those places are opening up, because we're in Texas, so everything is open.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
but it doesn't feel safe to go do those things. So
yeah, unfortunately, Samantha, I've got to tell you that the space and the respect from men particularly, that's just temporary. That isn't an epiphany. They haven't changed.
Good to know. Yeah, I take everything with a grain of salt. I'm like, okay. Kill me. So.
And what about you, Emily? What are you taking?
Oh goodness. There's been good and bad. I mean, obviously, this has some changes in my life have been awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
It has. I will say the strain on my relationship has been interesting, just because I am pretty cautious. So other than coming here and being around the select few of my little group, we don't do a whole lot. So there's been some fights and some arguments, and we're just always together. But we love each other, so it's okay. But it's given me a lot of time to. I used to be just always a very extroverted person. And as I've gotten into my beginning and middle 30s, that's already kind of dwindled a little bit. I have a little bit less of the fear of missing out. But the past year has actually also taught me, like, I can be really happy by myself and just in my home with my pets, and things like this that you and Mel have done. It's just like, it's like the warm, I was telling Samantha, it's just like a little like pot of honey. Like, it's just so sweet. There's so many sweet, kind people that you can sit here and have a conversation with that you never, like, we wouldn't have probably been able to do this before. And so I think it's actually in some ways brought people that wouldn't have been brought together. It's proven that you can have friendships all over the world.
That's great.
Have interactions that you wouldn't have maybe thought to do before, because you were just like stuck in your everyday, and you go out and do stuff with your friends. And
that's a really good point. I totally agree with that. That there's a lot more opportunity to see people and talk to people that you wouldn't normally get the chance to talk to. They're doing their thing and I'm doing my thing, and I haven't talked to friends in New York forever, and now I talk to them all the time because we can video chat. And so it's definitely made a lot of those old relationships kind of resurface and build that bond again. So
absolutely, and I think that's going to last. I think that isn't temporary. I mean,
I think some stuff has changed, and I don't think everything's ever going to completely change back. So
I think the video thing is going to stick around. Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. Yeah, that's.
I know. For us, even with our company, we do conferences to meet the new project teams whenever we have a new construction project. And we used to go to an office and physically meet all at a big conference room table. And federal government has already decided we're not going to do that anymore. We're only going to do conference calls and video conferences moving forward. So that's already a big change from what we used to do. So we'll never meet in a meeting. We'll never have to meet in an office again, which is great for me. So that's already a big change from in structure from what we used to have.
Isn't that interesting? Because you have to make a certain kind of impression when you walk into a room physically.
Yes.
With a bunch of people that you don't know from some other state maybe, and that pressure's lifted when you can Zoom. Or when you can talk this way. I mean, you still have to present yourself. You can't just come on naked, but you gotta you know, it's a different pressure.
100%.
I kind of think I'd never thought of that, Samantha. That's really interesting.
How is that for you through acting though? Because that's got to just be insanely, everything has to be so very different.
It is. I mean, I've only done one job since in the whole 14 months, and that was just last month. I went to Estonia, and we were tested up the wazoo, you know, every couple of minutes. But it was a pretty normal film set. It was a low budget, so there weren't many people, 50 people. The big budget stuff is 200 people. But the stuff that's different is the meetings before, because normally I meet directors and people before that, and they want to see you. And they want to see you for real. They want to see if you are what you say you are. And because a lot of actors are like, oh, I'm only 25. No, you are not. And but now they have to do it on Zoom, so we have to do all these. I do a lot of, you know, talking and auditioning and all that stuff just on Zoom, which is kind of cool because I don't have to do quite as much preparation for that. So I will put my laptop back there, for example. On my laptop, beyond the screen, I'll have all my work, the lines I need for the just written down. So I can just read the whole thing, and they think I'm just amazing, and they only asked me to do it half an hour before. So there are bonuses and minuses, but I do like, I think that for people who don't necessarily need to be in a room with a bunch of I'm guessing mainly men in your business.
Yes.
It's probably quite nice to just go, hey, you know what? I'll just do it from home. I'll see you tomorrow.
It's great, and I'm not a big person, so it's easy for me anyway. So I run the meetings. So for me, it's easier to present and to direct via a video conference or an audio conference versus, you know, I'm 5'1". If I walk into a room, you know, I'm not imposing. Not, you know.
Bless you.
Yeah, so they usually miss me completely. They're like, oh, her? Like, she's doing this, that little one over there. So, you know, it's nice to be able to, you know, not have to worry about, you know, everyone's looking at me like, she's 12. What is she? Why is she coming in? So it's a little, for me, it's a little like, I like that part. That's a lot better.
Yeah. Well, listen, I wish your new thing, Emily, all the best. It seems like you found a really cool little nest to lie in there.
Yeah, it is.
Come back and talk to us sometime, both.
We will. I'll try to find. I need to come back on Tuesdays more when I actually can, because I love to watch y'all stuff later, and it's usually like after I've had a bad day, I'll pop on, and when you guys have recorded something, I get to watch it. And even that, not even being able to participate, but just see all of these wonderful people from all over the place, and there's just so much love that exudes from this. And thank you so much, you and Mel, for continuing to do this. This is just
it's all our fault. We're all to blame.
Yes.
Thank you.
This has been really cool. Yeah. Sorry, there's a bunch of weird art in here. It's distracting me.
We love weird art. Next time we see you, we're going to get you talk us through all of that stuff.
Okay, we'll do. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Emily. Thanks, Samantha.
Thank you, Mel.
It's good to see you. Okay, I have a very special video presentation that I'm going to share. It is going to take pretty much the rest of our meeting today, but Yanina has been working on this for months, and she put together a super cool kind of retrospective of the last year. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. That brings us up to today. What a year.
Wow. Janina, everyone who helped, but my goodness, that was just fantastic. It was just astonishing chronology, and I can't believe, I mean, looking back at some of those things was just really beautiful, really lovely. Really, really great, really touching. What a journey we've been on.
I tried to convince Janina that the artwork piece section needed to be her murals, but
no.
We love those. We love those.
It was a struggle to select anything. So in the end, I went with chronological order. If there was something on the date, then that made it in. So it's not based on anything other than what happened on that date.
Well, I will remember a lot of this period for you being cleared of cancer.
Yeah.
That was one of my great moments.
Same.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It was just wonderful. It was great. People.
I only got to work with the material. It's what everyone basically did every week. What you and Mel did every week. I just put it together. That's all I did.
It's lovely to see it again.
Thank you, Janina. Okay, we're going to end it there for today, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And again, thank you to Janina for putting that together and Rob for helping work out some of the technical issues.
Thanks, Rob.
I only did 2% of that. Janina did literally all the rest. Absolutely.
Well, you're like the Duracell bunny anyway, Rob. Thank you.
Quite right.
Have a great weekend.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone.
You, buddy.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And this
Happy anniversary. Happy birthday, Sid City.
Bye.